Hello and welcome to day 9. Today's is a pretty quick one. So basically we're given a bunch of lists of numbers, and in each of these lists of numbers we want to find the differences and the differences of those differences and the differences of those differences until we get to everything being a difference of 0. So it's kind of like just taking the derivative and then the derivative of the derivative and then so on, so on, so on until you get a derivative that's 0. So for this first example, like 0, 3, 6, 12, or 9, 12, 15, all of these numbers each time, there's just adding 3 each time, and then the difference between 3 and 3 and 3 and 3 and 3, they're always 0. So we're done. And then what we're going to do is we're going to find out what the next number in the sequence would be on each side, which is basically just going to be adding this kind of this right column up. So for a longer example, like the last one here, is the differences change in between the numbers. So it's 3, 3, 5, 9, 15, 23, right? But then those change into just the evens, and then of course the evens change into just 2's, and then that is 0's. And so then we'll add up this column, which ends up with 68. Okay, so pretty quick. Today we're just going to take our line, split it onto numbers, of course, as usual. So the way I did this was I have steps as just a list of, basically it's going to be that last item. So this item in each part of this list is, and I'm just going to sum it up at the end. And then our current is just our nums, and while the current has any that are not 0, then we're going to add to our steps the last item. And then current is basically just going to be a reduced of the item minus the previous item in that list. And then I'm going to take just the last -1 because I don't really need the first one because that will always be 0. And once I go through there, sum them all up, and then I'm done. So pretty quick. For part 2, the only difference is now instead of trying to extrapolate the next value, we're going to try to extrapolate the previous value. So we're going to start the exact same thing, but now we're going to look at the previous ones, which are going to be subtractions instead of additions. And then that's actually going to change some of our code a little bit here. So this part is basically all exactly the same, except my steps I'm now adding first instead of adding the last. And then after that, I need to iterate through my steps, and instead of just summing them up like last time, so like last time I could sum them all up because they're always additive. This case, I actually need to do subtractions. I can't just take this line, right, and add it up and get 5 because there's subtractions in there. So while the steps is not empty, I'm just going to take the difference. It's going to be the current step minus the previous, and then I'm going to say that as the previous. So 0 is the previous, then 2 minus 0 is 2, that becomes the previous, and then 0 minus 2 is -2, so that becomes the previous. 3 minus -2 is 5, so on. And then just take the last value off, just to make finish the loop out. And then at the end, our answer, instead of just being summation, is now just the previous because we had to go just manually find it. Only difference. So pretty quick one today. If you have any questions or comments, of course, hit me up. I also, of course, have the code on GitHub, links down below. And other than that, I will see you tomorrow.